louder. Even though, as Nigerians would say, God forbid, and it won't happen, would there actually be any form of warning? If a bridge was to collapse under the weight of some of these trailers and trucks, would we have any warning beyond some of the issues you've pointed to right now before such a collapse would happen?
It depends. In certain circumstances, you might have a few minutes, maybe extreme vibrations, what the layman will call shaking. In other situations, they may not have the luxury of a warning
evacuation
beyond sudden and catastrophic collapse. And I mean, there are cases of bridge failure. There was the Tacoma Bridge disaster somewhere in the rest of America several decades ago. There were high winds which caused the bridge structure to reach its natural frequency. Some scientists have even tried to explain the collapse of the wall of Jericho as God asking people to march around the wall. It raised the wall to its natural frequency and it shattered by the forces of nature and physics. So you may not have that luxury of a long or prolonged warning. But what you have seen, vibrations or shaking when you are applying the route, gaps at the expansion joints, loads beyond what could ever have been anticipated when the designers were on the drawing board in the late 60s and 70s when the Cobridge complex was being conceived. Common sense dictates that we should call something similar to what the politicians are doing, a town hall meeting, and say, how do we get out of this challenge? The fire services too need to be placed on alert because of the tank farms. Anything can happen if there is a conflagration. So these are issues that we should reason through, realizing that with the current economic circumstances, the cost of reconstruction may be beyond our reach.
Good morning, Engineer Falabi. Now,
good morning.
Now, it is really very sad that this is the situation we have in our hands at the moment. One thing is to be able to identify, having spoken extensively about the problems and the impending danger of what we have at the moment. What do you think? I mean, on a good day, a sensitive, government will do as we speak? What measures do you think government should, take immediately to avert, this impending danger?
To the best of my knowledge, between the mid-1980s and about this point in time, there have been at least 2 major rehabilitation programs in the entire Cobridge complex. In the late 80s or early 90s, just before General Babangida stepped aside as military president, there was a major rehabilitation of a Cobridge, and I think there has been another one. But it's usually accustomed by some disruption to socio-economic life. Maybe the one side of the carriage will be put out of use for some hours, some diversion, which will require the cooperation of the public. A lot of enlightenment. There may be alternative routes that will be upgraded for the period of repair. So these are some measures that can be taken. The media too has a role to play. But major rehabilitation of a bridge like that, which experiences heavy traffic, usually comes with disruption to economic activity. But it's a price we have to pay. When Governor Fashola was still in Lagos, at the tail end of the second time, he said, many of us want to eat an omelette without realizing that you must first break the egg. No pain, no gain. But the government is responsible. They've done at least 2 major rehabilitations of the Cobridge complex and the Old Carter Bridge, to my knowledge. One in the late 80s and early 90s, and another subsequently. It costs money, and it takes cooperation of the public. Some agencies like the FRS, the Federal Road Safety Corps, LASMA, the VIOs of the local government, vehicle inspection officers, and so on, will also have a role to play. But it requires the cooperation of many people, and there are costs involved. Many people who have factories in APAPA too may be able to support the efforts of the government, even wealthy individuals who live in APAPA. This is not a time where we should leave it all to the government. Public spirited individuals can also come together and support the government, either with financial resources or whatever they have at their disposal, so that the common good of all will be lifted to a higher level.
All right, Engineer Falabi, thank you so much. Just very quickly as we wrap up, a final question. So we've seen that we may have no notice if anything is to happen with the bridge, but there have been complaints from those who are passing on the bridge. In a short term, what can the state government do to sort of maybe find a way around this? Is there anything they can do short of getting the trailers and the trucks off of the bridges?
What we can do is to have a trailer park and then gently coax them into using the trailer park. Relieve the bridge of the excessive load. That is one thing we can do. And the trailer park can be constructed very quickly. We have some additives that can be put to concrete to make it harden very fast. Or it can even be a makeshift trailer park. Relieve the bridge of the excessive load. Coax them gently. Talk them into it. We may not be able to force them. We don't even have the means to tow heavy articulated trucks like that. But talk them into the consequences, talk them to the consequences of a line endpoint collapse, and know that if they are deprived of the facility entirely, their livelihoods are also going. So why not be a responsible adult and make use of the trailer park? That is the immediate measure. Relieve the bridge of the excessive load. Then we start thinking of how to pull resources together for a major rehabilitation and repair.
All right.
Maybe a ring road also for the APAPA part of Lagos State. An alternative road, maybe a ring road, will also help. But that is medium to long term.
All right, Engineer Afolabi Adedeji, thank you so much quickly for your time. You've helped us lay a better foundation for the conversation, and we do appreciate your time this morning.
You're welcome.
All right, fantastic. All right, Lagos, so that was Structural Engineer and Facility Manager, Engineer Afolabi Adedeji, as we talk about the APAPA gridlock, the traffic, and of course some of the attendant issues that have come up. And one of those, he says, has been the structural integrity of the bridges. We didn't specifically get to the roads, but really the bridges and the potential for a collapse with no warning, no more than maybe a few minutes of warning if a collapse was to happen. Now, to continue this conversation, we have in the studio with us the CEO of Ships and Ports Communication, as well as the spokesperson for the Seaport Terminal Operators Association of Nigeria, Mr. Bolaji Akinola. He's joining this conversation live in the studio with us this morning. Bolaji, good morning to you.
Good morning.
It's great to see you. He's always smiling every time I see him. But you were listening to what Engineer Afolabi had to say, and in some points you took some notes and then you were shaking your head on some of the issues. What are your thoughts on what he's saying? The structural integrity of the bridges are at risk, and he said there's nothing short of moving the trucks and trailers off the road, immediately reducing the load on the roads, particularly the bridges. That's the only short-term answer there is right now.
Yes, I agree with him. The trucks must go off the bridge. I believe the integrity of the bridge has been compromised already. It's a disaster waiting to happen. As you said, we are sitting, all of us, the entire Lagos is sitting on a keg of gunpowder. So I agree, but I have a little disagreement with some of his solutions and his diagnosis also of the problem. That is my area of disagreement. He makes it appear as if the truckers are the cause of the problem. Now, I do not hold brief for them. I'm not a trucker. I don't speak for them. But they are actually victims of the situation that we have found ourselves. They are not the cause of the problem. We talk about coaxing them to use
gently persuading them.
They don't need to. They are victims of the situation they found themselves in.
But in the bigger picture, you cannot exonerate them. I am aware that there was a time government tried to manage or probably control the influx of these trailers into Lagos. During the Fashola administration, there were restrictions, time that they can move in and times that they can move out. And I am also aware that there's an Ogiri trailer park that was eventually, constructed or made available at a point in time to control, okay, stay here. When this number of trailers are out of Lagos, then you can move in. But all of these things, everybody wants to load at the same time. Everybody is chasing their daily projection or weekly projection. So everybody wants to come into Lagos and load and move.
I understand your argument. And yes, you have a point. But you see, that still does not address the problem.
Okay.
The point is, before 2014, when this gridlock started off and on, and then it came to stay permanently since late 2015, where were the trucks?
Wow. So it's not even a year. It's actually, I've been calculating more than a year. So we're looking at 2 years.
Yes. But off and on 4 years. So where were the trucks then? Has anybody sat back to ask this question?
So where were the trucks?
Where were the trucks? Good question. I think we need to understand where we are coming from.
Okay.
To enable us know where we are going to. The trucks were not on the bridge, and they had always been there. Before then, we had under the bridges, and we had a lot of them right there under the Ijora Bridge. Trucks were parking there.
Costain Ridge.
Trucks were parking there. At Tinkan, Liverpool Bridge, they were parking there. Before then, the APAPA Oshodi Expressway had not failed. It was working. There was a thoroughfare there. The truckers could use it. But about 3 years ago, that portion of the road collapsed. It failed. And that is the major artery. That's the major road into APAPA and Tinkan. Now everybody then started using the Ijora end into APAPA. What do you think will happen? There will be a gridlock. But that is the narrower road into APAPA.
Was none of this anticipated? Because one of the things he said when he started was the fact that Lagos has grown, and it just seems that we talk about it all the time. Our water systems, our health systems, our schools, our roads, our housing has not met up to the growth needs or to the growth trajectory that we find ourselves on. Was none of this anticipated?
By who?
Okay, by the people who make the decision.
So there we go.
Because the last time we had this conversation, we talked about how many trailers APAPA can actually service, how many trailers, or how many what are they called? You people are not
the articulated
how they can move out. Oh Lord, English has just stuck in my head this morning. Influx, like how they can. Containers, there's the word.
Yes,
so how many containers can actually be turned over in APAPA on a daily basis? The numbers were exceedingly low, but we're still stuck with only APAPA being the major port, the primary port, the priority port here. So it just begs the question again, was none of this anticipated? The heavy duties, the loads, the number of containers as our population grew that would need to access a port.
It obviously was not anticipated, or it probably was anticipated, but as usual, nothing was done. So the point I was trying to make earlier was that, so we had all this, the trucks were actually staying inside the port, and they were still under the bridges and all of that. That's why they were not on the road. They were also using the inner roads.
Yes.
But then, under the Fashola regime, they were dislodged from all these places in the name of beautifying under the bridges, which is good.
And then they talked about criminal activities happening as well.
Very good. And then the port was concessioned. That means almost every space inside the port was sold off to private companies.
Exactly.
And then, where the trucks were using as parking, they were also dislodged. Yet, government did not deem it fit to provide truck parks. So they were dislodged from there where they traditionally stayed without giving them where else to stay. So what do you think will happen?
But the dislodgement was attached to, if you want to continue to use the place, since it was a concession,
yes,
you pay a token or you pay a fee to stay there.
To stay where?
To stay at the park.
Which park?
I think that's the question. So when the concession was done, what was then done with the space? Was it turned into parks, or it turned?
Oh no. The concession in the port was given out to private terminal operators, to companies to use for port operation, not for truck parks.
So that's the classification.
So they were completely dislodged.
It wasn't even right for them to be staying in the ports. I must give it wasn't the right thing to do, because the ports are transit areas. They are not permanent storage facilities. It wasn't right also for them to be staying under the bridges.
Yes.
For safety reasons, for all those things that you talked about earlier. But the point is, if we were dislodging them, what alternative did we provide?
So
We didn't. We didn't.
I want us to talk about those alternatives, but I think it's also important again for us to emphasize that we need to get to a point where APAPA is not the only port. Some of the figures you shared last time, they may have changed, so we'll go back to that. How many trailers, how many containers, how many, okay, let's start with the trailers. How many trailers can APAPA service on a daily? How many trailers is it meant to service? How many containers can be turned over by customs and all of that thing, come in and come out? What are the figures going in and going out of APAPA on a daily basis?
Believe it or not, capacity utilization of APAPA port is less than 70%. It's still operating.
How do you mean? And we have this problem.
I'm telling you, so because it is not port congestion.
It is not.
People mistake this for it is not port congestion.
So why
inside this room is not congested?
Exactly.
But the entrance to this facility is poorly managed. The entrance to this facility is poorly managed. This room can take 10 people. Okay? But we are just less than half that number in this room. But coming into this room is a huge problem.
Okay.
This is the situation that we have at hand. The ports are not, for crying out loud, congested. I speak for all terminal operators in Nigeria. Our ports can do much more than they are even doing at present.
So what exactly, Mr. Bolaji, is the problem? What is the problem? And why is this problem persisting? Why I mean, we don't seem to have a solution at sight from the look of things. The ports are not congested. What exactly is the cause of this gridlock?
Of the gridlock. Thank you very much. Then we can talk about this. We can have a conversation about this.
Yes.
Now, I'll give you some of my points, in this regard, and this has been discussed. I think this should be about my third time on this station to talk about the same thing. Yet, government does not deem it fit to take action, in providing solutions to this problem.
Don't worry, it's high time they did.
Okay, let's talk about it. Let me start from.
Wait, before you start, let's also remind you that Mr. Bolaji Akeola, again, as the CEO of Ships and Ports Communication, as well as spokesperson of the Seaport Terminal Operators Association of Nigeria, is also part of the high-level talks being had between the federal government and the state government. So he's not just speaking; he's part of the conversations in terms of how to get a handle on the APAPA gridlock. Now, he has said that the gridlock is not caused by port congestion. But
we have an authority in the studio.
But to find out what the solution is, you have to stick around. This is what they call a tease. We have commercials. We'll be right back. Guys, my name is Tolu Adeleru Balogun. I currently host Morning Crossfire. I'm here to tell you that you have to get your PVC. Your permanent voter's card is your power. And in your hand, you hold the power to make any necessary change that you want in Nigeria. Please participate, because elections are not the end of democracy and governance. The highest office in the land is the office of the citizen. You and I are citizens of Nigeria. Get your PVC. Your PVC, your voice.
Such a busy place. But here's how I managed to stay in touch with the latest changes, trends, news, economics, and even entertainment.
99.3 Nigeria Info.
We know what's happening everywhere and every time. Giving you the latest happenings in Nigeria and around the world. The Breakfast News Digest, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
All right, we are back at 9 o'clock. It is headline news, and right after that is the Money, Business, and Economy show with Tunji Andrews. But Bolaji Akiola is still in the studio with us. He's the CEO, Ships and Ports Communication, as well as the spokesperson of the Seaport Terminal Operators Association of Nigeria. Now, he says our ports are not congested, and congestion is not the cause of the APAPA gridlock. The APAPA ports is basically operating around 70% utilization capacity. So what then is the issue? Mr. Bolaji, back to you.
Okay, thank you very much. First, the cause of the problem. Why do we have these trucks on our bridges? Sometimes the truck, the gridlock extends to as far back as Fadeyi on Ikorodu Road and the rest of them. Why is it so? One, there is no parking lot anywhere in Lagos State for trucks. Anywhere. Take my word. We have one opposite Tinkan Island Port, which government has been building for over 10 years. It has attained, I think, about 80% completion more than 5 years ago. The little bit remaining to complete it, government has refused to complete.
Which government are we talking about here?
Federal government.
Okay.
It's a federal government project. The roads we are talking about are owned by the federal government. So that is one major reason. Number one is that there is nowhere where these trucks park.
No one designated, assigned, park.
And like I said before, they were actually parking inside the ports. They were parking under the bridges. They were parking using the inner roads as holding areas. But then they've been dislodged from all those places without
a replacement,
an alternative. So what then do they do? And they must come to the ports. If they don't come to the ports, if we have truck strike for 2 days, Nigeria will feel it. Because we are import dependent.
So goods won't move out of the port.
Goods won't move out, and then there will be crisis, economic crisis. So we must provide everybody. The government knows this. The government knows this. There must be truck parks for those trucks to be off the bridge. They are using it for parking. It's not because they have something to do in the port immediately. We have done a study, and we found that 52% of the trucks coming into the APAPA area do not have any business to conduct.
So what are they doing
in the immediate? They are there because they have nowhere else to stay. They are there because they are using the bridge as holding bay, as truck park. Until it's their turn to go do their business.
Which could be 2 or 3 days.
Which could sometimes 7 days, sometimes 9 days. That is a key reason. And I think until that is addressed, this problem will persist. Problem number 2, bad roads. Before this crisis started, don't forget we have 2 major entries into APAPA. APAPA Oshodi Expressway. And then the Ijora end.
Yes.
The major entry is the APAPA Oshodi Expressway. That is the broader road. That is the major artery into APAPA. Before 2014, 70% of the trucks come into APAPA or came into APAPA through that road. But then that road has failed. It has collapsed. It is no longer motorable. So everyone then diverts to this end, to the Ijora end, which is narrower. So a road that was doing 30% of the volume now does
almost 100%.
What do you think will happen? Yet there is no truck park. And then to make matters worse, we started the repair of the Wharf Road by Dangote AG, which is good, very good initiative to at least try to manage the problem, alleviate the problem. But then that repair is coming with its own pains.
Yeah.
Because an entire section of that narrow
has been closed.
Road has also been closed. Yet there is no parking lot for these trucks. Honestly, I don't know what magic anybody expects other than what we are seeing right now. And don't forget also, there is increased volume of importation into Nigeria.
So more trucks are bound to fleet.
Our facilities should actually be expanding, but they are narrowing. The road facilities are not expanding to match the increase in cargo volumes at the port. So before we were doing, say, 80 million metric tons, yes? Before we were doing about 30, 40 million metric tons. Now we are doing well over 80 million metric tons per annum.
That's double.
More than double.
More than double.
And then the road infrastructure has not
remained the same.
No, it didn't remain the same.
Okay, because all the parts are actually
we have lost more than 60% of the road. That's the point I'm making. The major road is gone. The narrower road is there, but now it has even been further narrowed down by repair. And I thought before the repair started, what we were pushing for as terminal operators was that the inner roads should be fixed first before the
main road.
But that didn't happen.
So there's no fixing of inner roads, fixing of Ijora, but then it is limited because of the closure of a part of the road.
And then the few other parts of the inner roads that are supposedly okay. We have business operations that are going on there, like bank activities and all of that.
Of course.
And so we have a very major problem of trailers going to block bank entrances and all of that. We had a classical last year.
Okay, so that is there. Then another big problem, number 4, is that before now we were actually refining our petroleum products in country substantially, but for more than 5 years now, that has collapsed. So we now rely on importation. And guess what? 100% of that importation is done through APAPA. And that's where you hear the case of tank farms. We have a proliferation of tank farms in APAPA. It's an anomaly. It's a misnomer. It's there. And of course, you know, population is growing, so we are consuming more petroleum products. So we have now added more tankers, petroleum tankers on the road.
Unlike before, you used to just be the containers, the articulated vehicle.
Yes.
Now we have tankers. Now
and the tankers were even fewer then, because I mean, we were also doing some refining in country, but now we are not.
Is it possible to take back some of the land or find space within APAPA in which the government can create a trailer park?
There's an ongoing one.
Like I said, I'm just going to act like that one doesn't exist, because literally it doesn't exist.
Maybe we should ask government, why has it been difficult to finish the truck park opposite Tinkan Port?
What's the capacity of that one when finished?
I understand it can do more than 3,000 trucks.
Oh my, that's huge.
Well, it's huge, but that will take some off the road.
Do you know if we take 3,000 trucks off this road? 3,000.
That will amount to something.
Oh, yes.
That is one. Number 2, we have talked about the APAPA regeneration plan. At the height of this problem in 2014.
Do you have an idea? What's the blueprint of this regeneration plan?
Yes, I will discuss it. Okay. There is the APAPA regeneration plan. At the height of the problem, in 2014, when this problem first surfaced, Fashola was the
governor
of Lagos State at the time. Of course, Lagos State and the federal government were at each other's throats at the time for political reasons. But then somehow they came together to work together and say, look, what really is the problem? And a committee was set up. The current SSG of Lagos State used to be the Commissioner for Transportation. And we had series of meetings, and between the federal government and the state government and private operators, the problems were identified, and a plan was created, which was named APAPA Regeneration Plan. It means fix these roads, knock down some houses, build some more truck parks and the rest of them, And the cost at the time was about 110 billion naira.
I think a lot of people at this time forget that APAPA actually even also had a GRA.
APAPA GRA, the pristine area of APAPA in those days.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to live there.
It's an eyesore.
It's yes.
I was there recently.
So this is APAPA was an expatriate.
I think the G is out. We have the
so this is where we are. That wasn't implemented at the time, and up till now we hope that will be implemented. But yes, fix that road or fix that truck park opposite Tinkan. The entire Creek Road, and this is my own view, which I've canvassed severally. I don't know if you are familiar with Creek Road.
Creek Road, yeah.
Creek Road, the
Yes.
entire Creek Road. That part of the road where this day newspaper is. That part, the other side of the road where this day
Yes.
newspaper. I believe government should reclaim that entire stretch. I believe government should reclaim it, pay off the owners of the buildings on that axis, and we can also get some space for trucks there. I believe we can get a space for up to 5,000 trucks there if government reclaims that axis. But of course, it's owned by a lot of big men.
Yeah.
You know, you have the Inewi building, so it's going to cost the government a lot of money. But I believe if that is done, because I don't think they are even getting value for their property anyway, because it's deserted. The entire stretch is blocked by trucks every day.
Every day.
It smells, it stinks. You don't want to find yourself in that area at all, and it's dangerous to even be there.
So if there could be an exchange of ownership in terms of government buying out. Buying out.
So we could use that also as holding facility. But the long and short of this is that, look, we need to get the Tinkan APAPA Oshodi Expressway fixed.
And Lagos State said they have taken over.
Okay, so that's fine. We need to also ensure that we have truck parks in Lagos. Now, you talked about the Ogere truck park. It's a solution. It's a solution which we have also discussed severally. Shagamu and
interchange,
everywhere. Now, the solution is this. I think what will help us resolve this entire problem is this. Before any truck comes into Lagos, let them compulsorily stay at Ogere, Shagamu area. Compulsorily. And then get clearance.
A tally system.
Yes, so we have what is called a call-up system, which we have also recommended. You see, private sector cannot drive this. It's got to be government. Do I have power to stop any truck from entering Lagos at Shagamu? No. It's government. So if we build a much bigger truck transit area, not truck park now, truck transit area with conveniences, with restaurants and all of them, every truck coming into Lagos must first
stop there.
I mean, they have rooms where drivers can sleep and motorboys and the rest. They first stop there and then get clearance to confirm if they have business to do in the port in the immediate.
So they come in, do their business and out.
So anyone that has nothing to do within the next 48 hours has no business
coming into Lagos.
Into the city.
So those that have business to do within the next 48 hours can then be given clearance to move. And when they come, they then go to the truck parks that we have in APAPA, the ones we said government should complete. And we have ample spaces where we can get them completed. There is an Ijora dump site. If you're on the Ijora bridge, you see a dump site there. We've made a case. Is there that why not convert that also to a truck park?
And that dump site has been abandoned. It's only truck pushers who patronize the place now. I doubt if government takes any refuse there.
So those that are cleared from Ogere and Shagamu end can then come in. And then they of course mandatorily must go to those.
Obviously, this would be like a business handshake between Lagos State and Ogun State government.
And the federal government.
So is this
but there has to be communication, there has to be technology.
Of course.
Okay, so once they come, they then go into these other truck parks and wait there until it is actually their turn to go into the port or go to the tank farm to do what they have to do. And they do that and they just get out immediately. So that communication has to continually happen, but it has to be driven.
Yes, it's achievable. Technology can get it done.
Everything you're saying is not rocket science. We don't need an Einstein or a late Stephen Hawking to come and solve this. And again, I'm going to have to put it to you. You've been part of the high-level technical talks at the federal government level and local and the state level on this. Is it a lack of political will? Because you made mention of the fact that these recommendations have been pushed forth. They've been put forth as far back as maybe 2014, 2015. Is it a lack of political will to solve the APAPA gridlock problem?
Well, I don't know what you call it, but you have discussions, and then you come back, and then you make recommendations, and then you call other meetings to come and discuss the discussion that you have discussed, and then so I don't know what you term that. You know, we keep talking about it. We just keep talking.
Now, I mean, a bit of politics here. Now that we have an APC government at the central, in very recent past, have you had engagement with Mr. Fashola present and representatives in Lagos like Governor Akinwumi Ambode and all other stakeholders, including you and other people who are part of this, finding a solution to whatever is the problem in the APAPA port? Do you think things are a bit different from what it used to be, especially when the government at the center used to be an opposition party?
Yes, I think there's a lot more cooperation now between both levels of government. But then we are not seeing.
It's not playing out yet.
Yes, no. The implementation of the recommendations are not as fast as one will expect them. It's not even happening.
You're not sounding like you know why it's not happening.
When was the last meeting?
Because I don't know why. We haven't. The committee has finished its work. Recommendations have been made to the government. We are just waiting for implementation.
So when were the recommendations to the government made?
That was late last year.
Late last year. And as of late last year till now, there have been no further discussions to discuss what you discussed.
Well, we haven't been discussing what we discussed.
Oh my God!
It literally leaves somebody speechless.
The engineer earlier was talking about the need for town hall meetings.
Yes, for the truck drivers as well.
For a discussion. No, we have gone way past that level. We have had series of discussions. We've been discussing for over 5 years. The recommendations are there. We should just implement the recommendations, and that will save the bridges.
Now, BJ, the another side of this is that we Lagosians believe that the truckers are actually major nuisance, and very unfortunately, coming from someone like you who is part of what is happening, and saying that the truckers are actually victims. You may want to say something about that.
No, personally, I should be angry with the truckers because every day I'm going to APAPA. I mean, I know what I go through. Exactly. I know what I go through. I had a friend last year. He was in APAPA, and that is the downside of all of this. He was in APAPA. Many people now have to bike into APAPA.
Yes, they park their cars somewhere.
They have to park in Festac, in Maitu, look for where to bike, and then bike in and out of APAPA.
Yeah. Now, don't wear white shirts.
Yes, you do. But for me, I don't bike because there was a time I had a nasty experience. I had to be at the airport. And I said, okay, I left the driver. I came out of the car, took a bike, but I ended up in a pool of water.
Wow.
And a smelly pool of water. So this is about 3-4 years ago. And I made up my mind since then, it will never happen again. And I thank God I did. Because, you see, last year, I had a friend. Of course, he parked, I think he parked somewhere around the Okota area. And then biked in, and he finished his business. And he was about to leave, and of course, bike again on Tinkan Road. He was biking out, in fact, almost out of his area. I don't know whatever happened. The bike found itself under a trailer, and the front wheels of the bike, right on his torso. Everything inside of him spilled out. A very close friend. I don't want to mention the name. Everything inside of him spilled out. And he died before he even got to the hospital. So this is the downside. So I have every reason to be angry with the truckers. But I know that is not
the problem.
No, they are not the problem. They are not the problem. Why will anyone want to drive from Sokoto only to come and sleep for 7 days on Ijora Bridge? Why? Why would they want to do that? They are robbed. They are dispossessed of their valuables.
No
they suffer a lot of income. Yes, they
defecate.
They are extorted by security agents.
Yes, they are. They pay a lot of money to security agents, and I believe those are some guys that are happy, with this.
I asked you earlier, and I'm going to put this. I have 3 questions, and there's no time, but let me quickly put this to you, because you find in a lot of times in Nigeria, when a system or a process fails, someone somewhere is making money from it or benefiting. Is that a situation we're finding here? 1. 2, APAPA port is not the only port in Nigeria. We cannot have this conversation if we do not again draw attention to the fact that it is under the federal government's purview to open up the other ports. And then 3, we are in the 21st century. Nigeria still is not moving cargo by train. Is there any conversation happening on at least those last 2 issues? So let's start with, of course, the first one, which I've already forgotten. I said old age is bad.
You're not old. You don't belong to this generation. I know.
I'm not your generation, but I know Bolaji remembers. Lord.
Thank you, Tolu. Okay, so there is a discussion and indeed a plan going on to evacuate by rail and also by the waterways.
Okay.
For instance, I mean, you are aware, Honorable Rotimi Amici has been on this rail.
Yes.
Rail situation. Although he's been focused a lot more on passenger movement and all of that, but there is also cargo train already. We already have it moving from APAPA to Kaduna I think twice in a week. But it is only able to do about 20 containers per trip. That is a drop, a tiny little drop in the ocean. It does not help. So imagine if we're able to move substantial volume of containers out of APAPA by rail. That will solve the problem. But don't forget also, it has been said that some guys who are also part of helping to find the solution were the ones that actually killed the train in those days.
Yeah.
So they can make more money from trucking. Now the problem is staring them in the face. So we need to go back to in sane climes, like you said. I mean, road is not for evacuation of trucks and of tinners and such heavy duty. It's train. So we must get the trains right. And I believe government is working very hard to make sure this happens. But then it should happen fast. But only the containers, even the petroleum products can be evacuated because we have tank wagons. They should be evacuated also by train. Then the use of the waterways is one I still find very absurd. And that's why we have the National Inland Waterways Authority, NIWA, to help Nigerians make effective use of waterways. So even if these cargoes come to Lagos, and so a lot of them have to go to Onitsha. No, let's look at Onitsha, because I mean we have a lot of importers in Onitsha. We have a port, a river port in Onitsha. Why can't we evacuate those cargoes meant for Onitsha by barges? Small seacraft barges. Let them go. Let nobody with truck from Onitsha to APAPA. Let all those cargoes meant for Onitsha importers and traders
go the entire southeast, maybe.
Yes, go to Onitsha port by barges and then let them go there and pick.
Why is government not doing that?
Again, we should ask the National Inland Waterways Authority, and we have talked about it. They have been part of discussions, to ensure that they also get their act right. And then if we do that, in addition to the railway option, I believe that will be.
So let's go back to my first question, which I have now remembered. When a process or a system is not working in Nigeria, it tends to be because someone somewhere is benefiting. Is that the situation we're finding with this APAPA gridlock?
We have cabals right now, as far as this gridlock is concerned, that are raking in millions of naira every day. And talk to the truckers, they will tell you. You will see someone on queue for 3-4 days is unable to get into APAPA. Yet you will see someone just coming straight and is giving express passage because money exchange hand. It's as much as 10,000 naira sometimes.
No, a trucker called us and said up to 15,000 to get access.
To get access.
Yeah.
So even if you don't pay for express, you must eventually pay at some point. Maybe 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 naira. And imagine, look at the volume. We are talking about 10,000 trucks a day. 1,000 per truck alone, you are talking of over 10 million naira.
That's right.
So some people are really benefiting from this.
Mr. Bolaji, this, like as you said, is like the third time we're having this conversation, and we hope it is falling into someone's ear. While some may be making money, the majority of Nigerians like yourself who have to be in APAPA, who do business there, are suffering, and it is hurting the economy. In the long run, the economy will make more money if we get our act right. But you can find out more and ask him your questions. He is available on Twitter at Bolaji Ship if you have more questions about some of the activities of the committee he's involved in, as well as the recommendations. So we've been speaking to the CEO, Ships and Ports Communication, as well as the spokesperson of the Seaport Terminal Operators Association of Nigeria, and the person of Mr. Bolaji Akinola. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Lagos, this is how we wrap up the Breakfast News Digest. Up next is the not front pages, headline news, and right after this it's the Money, Business and Economy Show with Tunji Andrews. Follow the money. Stay with us.